Welcome in, everybody. This is Too Much Movie Night. Join your hilarious host, Brian. That's frosted heroin you're eating right there. JJ.
It's not a poor pose.
And Steve.
That kind of hurt my feelings.
Follow along as we dissect, debate, and dish out cinematic hilarity that'll leave you rolling in the aisles. So buckle up, grab your popcorn, and get ready for a movie podcast that's packed with laughs, entertainment, and probably a few bad jokes. This is Too Much Movie Night. Welcome in, well-traveled listeners. This is Too Much Movie Night. You've got Brian, Alyssa, Steve, and JJ here to break down The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. How we doing, folks?
All right.
We're doing a pretty good too fine. Ready to rock and roll this son of a bitch.
Oh,
that's for sure.
Coming in hot. Okay, I like it. I'm ready for it.
Got that energy.
Yeehaw, partner.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, gosh. Steve's trying to spin us back to our Western movies.
Right.
No.
Well, I was trying to remember that the quote from Austin Powers where he's pulling into the
You some bitch, pile monkey nuts.
Well, welcome in, everybody. We are doing a travel movie this week, and JJ's pick of Secret Life of Walter Mitty is the winner. If you haven't seen the movie, it's a 2013 American adventure comedy drama, filmed, directed, co-produced, and starring Ben Stiller. Written by Steve Conrad, this film stars Kristen Wiig, Shirley MacLaine, Adam Scott, and Sean Penn. This was not a movie I'd seen before. This was not a movie I expected to pop up on the list. And quite the feel-good movie it was supposed to be, as you kind of saw getting into it. But JJ, tell the folks, what was your first interaction with this movie?
I think this, if I remember correctly, I have only seen this movie once or twice before. And it was a wake up on a Saturday or Sunday morning, hungover, laying on the couch, and it was on Netflix or one of the streaming services, and I just watched it. And it's like you said, it's a feel-good movie, so it's like, I feel like shit, I watched the movie, now I feel better about myself, let's go get some brunch. I think that pretty much sums it up for me right there.
I feel like that's some of the best movie gems I feel like are found that way. Unintentionally turned on, you're too hungover, too lazy to change the channel, and you're just stuck in it.
Yeah,
But,
it's like the room is dark and you're just glued to the TV because you don't want to look anywhere else because everything else hurts.
Alyssa, what about you? What'd you feel about this movie? This being your first time watching, correct?
Definitely a first timer. And, I was just sitting here thinking, I love watching the new movies. Of course, it's nice to go back, and especially if you get to pick a movie and you pick yours and you've seen it before and you have a love or appreciation for it for whatever reason. But I like that I've seen a lot of new movies lately that I would probably never turn on because I just repeat the same TV shows and movies and series over and over again because sometimes I just can't have new. I just have so much other new that I need something that I can just kind of zone out on. But this movie, with it being new, it was easy to watch. I could totally see it being a hangover movie or just a light Sunday. You're not trying to get into a thriller or anything deep. You just want to feel good after it. I also like watching actors and actresses that are bigger now and seeing them in their earlier days or in just their not popular moments. I just think it's kind of fun to see that. So I was already down with the cast before I even watched it.
This isn't really a comedy Kristen Wiig movie. You do have one scene where she kind of gets her little quirky weirdness, but that's basically it. For the rest of it, she's a mom, and she's a more serious character than what, SNL, Bridesmaids, Kristen Wiig we know and love.
Right? He adores her.
Yeah, Alyssa actually pointed that out during watching it, that this is one of the few films we actually see Kristen Wiig completely put together. She's not falling apart over here on this extreme, or the personal life's not wild, or the job isn't holding on by a thread. So it was a nice change seeing these two in more of a different role than their traditional.
So are you saying a girl that's divorced, a single mom who just got fired from her job has her life put together.
Okay, well, she wasn't
I mean,
fired when we
fake it
first
till you make it, maybe?
met her.
Yeah.
You know, like she had a job when we first met her, but like mentally, she's not crashing. You know,
Right.
Bridesmaid, she is just falling apart. Yeah,
What I was
and-
thinking is like dark-haired Kristen Wiig is more serious and more grown up, whereas
blonde-
blonde-haired Kristen Wiig is like nutty and fucking falling apart.
Rachel McAdams,
steps
you know.
outside
Yeah.
of like that feminine square, right? She challenges that in her other roles. There is something about the brunette hair, though. It is a big change. It allowed me to accept this other character without expecting like a, oh, is she? Like that kind of quirky voice to come up or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. It was nice.
Well, Steve, tell us, what was your first experience with this movie?
Man, Brian, so this came out 2013. I definitely didn't watch it then, but shortly after when it came out on DVD, I want to say like, our son Jackson wanted to watch it or get it or something like that. Maybe we like got it from a red box or something. So, watching it this time, I kind of knew what to expect, but at the same time, forgot a lot of the stuff. But yeah, it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was, Steve. Same. I remember when this movie came out. I remember seeing the trailer, and I honestly can say I fairly remember turning off the trailer halfway through it. I believe that one of those first scenes you see are one of his daydreams, going from this like mild-mannered Ben Stiller to all of a sudden he's in this weird action shot, and I think it lost me right there. So this was never a movie I really gave a chance to. I've talked in previous episodes. I've never been a big Ben Stiller character fan. Most of what I saw him early on was Dodgeball, Heavyweight. He was usually a villain. The asshole he plays in Friends, like that's usually what I knew Ben Stiller for. So seeing him in this softer side, being empathetic for this character, it's just not something I even wanted to humor. Because like that's the last thing I want to do is like Ben Stiller as a character, Like no, I put him on that
Last
dark
thing I want
side.
to do is like Ben Stiller.
Right?
See, but that's it. I
Don't you
like,
like him for the asshole that he is, though?
but I like Ben Stiller in a lot of other movies besides him being an asshole.
Oh, I like him
Yeah.
the way he acts, but like he's the bad guy, so you don't like kind of like Philip Seymour Hoffman. Everything I've seen him in, he's usually the bad guy, so I don't ever want to like him on screen. R.I.P. But
So you don't have to anymore.
Yeah. I think honestly the only reason I probably watched it, and it may not have been the trailer, it could have been just the preview on the social, or not social medias, but the streaming services, is probably the music. Like a lot of the songs that are played are songs that I listened to and listened to back then and still are on rotation like throughout my playlist. And so I'm like, oh hell yeah, that's a badass song. This has to be a badass movie. And then I watched it. Kind of deal. Because I don't think without the music I probably would have watched this on my own.
well, y'all ready to get to this trailer? Kick it off.
Roll it.
I am. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Hi, how can I help you today?
Hi, I can't seem to leave a wink for someone.
Okay, I'm looking at your profile. You left a lot of this stuff blank.
Well, I haven't really been anywhere noteworthy or mentionable.
Have you done anything noteworthy, mentionable?
We have ahead of us the privilege of publishing the very last issue of Life magazine.
Jumping up and down the floor.
And for the final issue, we just received -25 from Sean O'Connell for the cover.
There wasn't an
It's 25. It's not there.
I know.
sun.
Look what I found!
What's that?
Travel journal Dad gave me.
The sun was an okay guy.
Hey,
They had a
Hey.
how was your weekend?
dragonfly.
An awesome weekend.
The ice, Jace. She moves like a woman.
I'd like to climb your hair.
Oh, wow.
What is it you call it when he goes into one of his little places?
Zoned out.
You do that now and then. What's the matter?
I lost a picture of it.
I like mysteries. You should go. Crack the case.
You were Sean's partner. You finish his work.
about courage and going into the unknown.
Hey, man, where are you now?
Himalayas. I'm not gonna keep this short. I have to make oxygen choices.
Walter Mitty is a negative assets manager at Life magazine, living alone in New York City. He chronically daydreams and has a secret crush on Cheryl Melhoff, a coworker. Walter attempts to contact Cheryl via eHarmony, but eHarmony's customer service agent, Todd, explains that Walter's account is not filled out. The been there and done that sections are blank. Walter works with the legendary photojournalist Sean O'Connell, although they have never met. At work later that day, Walter receives a negative roll from Sean with a wallet as a gift. A letter from Sean explains that he believes negative number 25 captures the quintessence of life and should be used for the cover of magazine's final issue before it becomes exclusively digital. Yet, the negative is missing from the roll. Ted Hendricks, the obnoxious manager from the magazine's transition, has also heard Sean's recommendation. When he asks about number 25, Walter stalls and lies, worried about being fired. Walter then asks Cheryl for help, and she suggests that Walter use the other negatives as clues to Sean's location. He and Hernando, his understudy, are stumped by a negative depicting a curve until they notice another containing the name of a ship registered in Greenland. Well, this opening scene, we get this quiet, easy depiction of what Walter Mitty really is. And I've got to ask, Steve, as the only podcaster here on this show, the only host that would truly have this skill built into you, at what point did you ditch your checkbook? Because it's 2013 and old boy's still rocking one. I was born early 90s. I was put at a certain age where my parents taught me how to work a checkbook a little bit, but it was soon ditched. I soon realized that I could remember what's in there. You know, checking it on your phone wasn't too far off. But Steve, you can't have been using your checkbook even past what, 2005?
So Brian, personally, I carried a checkbook in 1995, but after that I stopped using checkbooks. Now, we still had checks. We still have checks, but they only get used maybe one time a year to whenever I order popcorn from the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. That's about it, though. But yeah, so I would definitely say 1995 I stopped carrying a checkbook.
Yeah. I thought maybe there was going to be some relevance later on in the movie to this checkbook thing, but I didn't really see a real reason for it, but just cracked me up just seeing this.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just how bland is
Right.
his house even. Like, it's just so gray.
Yeah.
Well, was that his house, or was he at his house when he was trying to
Yeah.
Or-
Well,
yeah,
when he was balancing his checkbook and then
it was right before
typing
he left
up
for
on the
work.
old eHarmony.
And dude, I had a feeling there, like watching him go for that like wink at her, and he like held back, and then he went for it again, and then he pulled back, like even before he got the error message. Like I remember those days, like right before you're going to send a message to somebody, and you're like, no, I'm not going to.
Yeah,
and then you go back to it, just not even going to think about it. I'm just going to push it right through. You know, you got to respect that.
I love how it's gonna bite him because he's like. He hits send and then he jumps back and he's like, "Oh, I did it!"
Damn bear trap attached to his computer.
Like that cracks me up, man. I love seeing that because every guy, listen, I don't know about you, but the rest of us, we have all been there at one point in our lives. That's for sure.
That's funny. The game.
That opening scene, I just did not know what to expect. It's just so quiet and it's dull. And then when he jumps into his first, I guess, to mental zone out thing, you don't really know what to expect. I went into this blind. I did not even read the summary because, to be honest, I read the summary for the movie in 1974. And so I realized that was 47. There you go. Even deeper. And so I was like, I'm just going to go into this blind then. And I did not know what to expect of that. But I feel like it did a good painting of who he is. Like you said, just he's dull.
Is that the
And
first one
then-
where he jumped off the train, the
Yeah.
train
Yeah,
platform into the building to save the dog or something?
To ditch his buddy on
Yeah.
eHarmony, the only
Yeah.
guy he's
While
really
he's-
talking to, and he just hold on.
Like,
Mid conversation.
what? Do you have
Like,
mental powers? Like, is this a superhero show? Is that the secret? Like on Secret Life of Doug? What is he, Quail Man? You know, what is this
Yeah.
going to be? I wasn't
That's
sure.
what I thought too. It was like, because I was just like, wait, all of a sudden he jumps off, but then when he like dove into the window, I was like, is that, I mean, I remember like the first time, but even this time it was still, like, okay, is he imagining this? What is this secret life? I don't get. You know?
It was
Right.
kind of like, it was very confusing, and it really wasn't until the point where he pulls out the dog prosthetic that I was like, oh yeah, this is totally in his
forgot
fucking
about
imagination. Because he's like, yeah, it's got this hip little swivel joint, and like, I was like, yeah, okay, this is in his imagination. That's right.
That was something Alyssa kind of brought up earlier while we were watching this, is like, it was hard to determine, especially in the beginning, what was real and what wasn't. And we probably got 3/4 of the way through the movie, and she goes, I swear to God, if this whole movie has been just one daydream, I'm going to be pissed. I was like, you know what? Don't you put that out there, Alyssa.
I didn't.
I'll just, like,
don't you put that voodoo on me,
slip you
woman.
back.
I never once thought that, because I mean, each one has just, or each imaginary, whatever they're called, scene has like just something so outlandish that it can't be real.
He went on a quest and country hopped. And then, not to spoiler, all the things we're going to talk about that he's building his life and his eHarmony profile, which I loved that little underlying thing that they were doing with that. But, like, they were just crazy. They could totally be an imaginary dream.
Yeah, no, that
So,
is true. I will give you that.
Outside of the things with his family, like, I feel like the interactions with his sister and his mom and the piano reoccurring, that was anchoring. But even so, at one point I questioned it.
I loved that likes and dislikes, it said sister. Like, that was fun. On
Yeah.
the eHarmony part. Let's meet Adam Scott here. The big, like, it looks like it's the brother from Step Brothers is who we think is playing this role. That horrible beard.
Oh,
Horrible beard.
so bad.
Was it real? Do you guys
Yeah.
think it was real?
It looked velvet.
It did.
It was
Yeah.
not the correct texture
It was
for
so
what.
dark too. No, you're right. He's such a dick. But throughout this,
Which
whole
I just
thing.
put together that, like, with Catherine Hahn being in this, they're.
They were married in Step Brothers. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which she plays her kind of like out of touch side in Step Brothers. Like, that's more of her character in this. Like, she's living in the past. She's trying to get a role in Grease. And then the way that she dresses outside of her auditions seems like she's living in that time. Her hair was all maybe not with the modern trends.
And we get that quote from her in Step Brothers too, that "Stay Golden, Pony Boy," which we also get later on in the movie.
We get in this one
from
yeah.
the boat captain, which I thought was kind of funny when I heard that. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. But, not at all. I'm sure there's an actual connection there, but cracked me up. But yes, -25. It has gone missing as we see Walter come to work, which I thought was kind of crazy. Like, he gets all bent out of shape here, realizing that, we've got all these photos, 25's missing. And I feel like immediately he takes the blame. Like, oh, we need to find this. Fuck that, man. You just open it up and it's gone. I would not defer, it's not me.
Yeah.
But, he took it on for himself.
I mean, but he handles everything, it seems like, with being correct or with integrity, or you don't really see him step outside of his character much. And so also they have, what is it, a 17-year connection that Sean's been sending him his negatives.
How weird is it that she brings a birthday cake to
To
work?
the lobby of his work, yeah.
That's
For
like
breakfast.
living in the past. That's not appropriate. I'll be looking for a clementine cake recipe on Google because
I
that
do want to
sounds
try
rough.
that.
I
Yeah.
love like a lemon loaf, and this sounds like it could be that, but maybe even better.
That's
Also
okay.
with the Stretch Armstrong, like, what is that?
I feel
think
like
it's the way it
she
flops
was
around that makes me uncomfortable.
well,
Very
Yeah.
penis-like.
but I feel like she was, like hey, mom made you a birthday cake. Hey, I was helping mom pack up all the shit in her apartment, and I came across this old Stretch Armstrong toy. Like, here you go. Just find something in a box, and like the memories are the gift.
She totally seems that's her style.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because she's like, it's tip time. These guys need their tip. Like,
Yeah.
you don't got $5, 10, because there's 2 of them.
I don't think you're tipping a piano guy $5.
He's like, hey, why are you here? And she's like, oh, well, they got the piano, like halfway inside and like half outside. Like, it's okay. I had to come here and bring you a cake. And it's like, no, you should stay there till the job is done. Make sure that they do the job. We'll get into it later, but what does a negative asset manager make in a year?
For Life magazine, he probably does decent, right? Especially putting his mom in a villa. That's a fella.
Oh yeah,
right
that's
there.
another thing. Like,
I
yeah,
mean-
we'll need last month's and first month's plus the deposit. It's $4,700 a month, and he's like, yeah, that's fine.
And Rizzo over there acting in the church play, she's not pulling in coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that he could just upgrade on the spot and commit to that he must, or is it that he doesn't do anything?
But at this point, Walter's got to find it to save his job, so he's going to take the only 3 photos that they're able to save from the negatives, and we've got clues now. It's a Scooby-Doo chase off to Greenland. Y'all ready to go to 2?
Numero dos.
Dos. Walter reluctantly takes a plane to Greenland. A bartender, Nook, explains that Sean left on a ship. Mitty must go on the postal helicopter to find him, and the pilot is drunk. Mitty recognizes the pilot's thumb from one of the negatives, and after hesitating, joins the pilot on a trip to bring supplies to the ship. When he finally comes aboard, Walter accidentally jumps into ice-cold, shark-infested waters, losing the ship's supplies and preventing radio communication. There, Walter learns that Sean departed from the ship a few days earlier and deduces from a note on wrapping paper from a clementine cake Sean left behind that he is heading to Iceland to photograph the volcano. Walter bikes, skateboards, and runs through the Icelandic countryside to find Sean, but misses him as the volcano erupts. Dejected, he returns home.
Here's another thing that has bothered me. The guy, when he's on the phone with Ted from eHarmony. Ted?
Todd.
He's like, yeah, I've been to Phoenix and Nashville, but that was the airport.
Just the airport.
So does that count? No, that doesn't count. But he's willing to, he has the coin to hop onto a plane to Greenland and a passport. For some reason, he has a passport.
He seems like a prepared kind of guy.
But that's what I was thinking too. Is like, who's paying for these trips? He has to sell his mom's grand piano to pay Todd $100 or whatever. He's sending him some money because he owes him something. But yeah, like, dude.
That's what we were talking about. Is like, yeah, he's probably not spending his money. I mean, we got to see his checkbook ledger and it, all piano related, but
maybe that's why they have the checkbook. Like, to reinforce that he doesn't spend money on anything because he doesn't do very much.
But, I mean, he lands in Greenland, and I love the big-ass plane that they park right behind the double-wide airport. Like, I know that's completely fake and, like, everything is 100% made up, but that's fucking hilarious. I laugh my ass off at that.
We get that joke later on about, like, that guy's like, yeah, don't cheat on your wife, especially when there's only 8 people on the island. You know, like, just making note of how small the population is out there on Greenland.
Do you think everyone else is like, just, this is Larry, you know, on a regular Tuesday
That's
or
right.
whatever
Just
his name
let
was?
Larry go.
Like, yeah, they're just used to it. They tolerate it just like you tolerate a toddler sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you look at everybody. Like, the bartender was even kind of thrown off that somebody was wanting to talk.
Right.
He was like, hey, yeah, did you get mail here? And she's like, beer? And he's like, oh, I mean, yeah, I guess I'll take a small shoe of beer, but I mean, that's not. And she's like, okay, yeah, well, we get mail, but that's about it. Like, and then everybody else is just like staring at their drinks, like not talking to anyone else.
Tequila?
Yeah.
Like light beer?
Yeah.
But this little rumble we get into, which as we got dug deeper and deeper into these photos, it was hard not to roll your eyes. Like, him noticing the ring on this. I mean, granted, that's all you're looking at in this photo is a ring and a thumb. But, like, putting these small little things together, I get what we're doing with the movie, but sometimes it's just a little too cheesy for me, just...
Well, and it's... Like, in the heat of the moment, you're about to stab somebody in the face with a broken beer boot.
Yeah.
I thought this was a dream, by the way, too. As fast as this escalated, I was like, oh, this is totally a freaking zone out.
Yeah, but, I mean, he just all of a sudden is like, oh, your thumb. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, my thumb. And it's like, the
right,
fight's over.
Stop.
It's like...
Yeah, I've got a thumb ring.
Really?
It matches my toe ring.
What?
He gets to Iceland once we hop on the helicopter.
Which I love that it's his little zone out session and it's her singing that brings us to the helicopter scene. Because they don't really define when that stops. And so it just keeps going. You're like, okay, well, that really happened. Here he goes. But is it more risky to drink and drive or drink and fly?
Probably drink and drive. There's less to hit when you're flying.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too, but like I've never flown a plane, so what is that? I don't know.
Like,
What
I don't remember
happens when
George
you
Jetson ever coming home with the DUI.
I mean, you don't have to...
But cars is more like bumper cars.
Well, okay,
helicopter
think
above
about
the
this.
ocean can be like...
Think about this, and I'm not condoning drinking and driving in any way,
None
shape,
of
or
it.
form.
No.
But you get a DUI, DWI, whatever, from swerving in and out of the lines or hitting something else. You don't have any lines to swerve in and out of when you're in the air.
But it doesn't mean that the behavior and the driving is unsafe, right? And it's not stable.
So I guess it's just less dangerous for other people when you're drinking and flying.
Yeah.
So, as long as you're flying over the ocean, it's pretty much harmless to anybody
So
else.
here's the $1 million question. You're in a sleazy little dive bar in Greenland and you're trying to find somebody, and that's your really only way out. You hopping on that helicopter, or are you gonna
So there's a
stay
life
back and wait for
jacket
the next one?
on the helicopter. I'm getting on. There's not much to crash into,
What, you got 60 seconds until you freeze to death, he said.
I'll ride a porpoise.
I don't know. I mean, he said that he's delivered mail before, so you would assume that this is not the first time that he's drank to this extent and flown. And he's standing here in front of me, so he's got a survival rate, which means 100% pass rate if we're saying life and death. So, I mean, in a moment full of adrenaline, my logic could paint that picture for me and allow me to possibly jump in there.
That was
And then
something
an
that kinda
inspirational back song, like, yeah. When you got your hype song, it can just boost your mood. That might, thinking about that all coming together, you might be able to convince me to do that.
This was where we got to another one of those scenes where it was hard for me to tell, like I said, whether we were in a zone out. Because all of a sudden he's jumping out of the helicopter, not a Walter Mitty move. Fighting off sharks, like punching them, swinging his thing, not a Walter Mitty move. So again, it was several minutes into the boat scene before I fully realized that he actually did all these things. And I think this is the beginning of the real character development that we see with Ben Stiller's character. He's changing. He's willing to do these things, to go out and have these experiences. And I think that's where those good feelings are arising for me.
Well, I mean, that's definitely the changing point is the helicopter scene for sure, but I mean, you can't be mad at the guy. He loses the boat phone, and he didn't have clear instructions on what to do. He said, "Jump into the boat." Okay, well, there's a fucking raft over here, and there's a big ass boat over here.
Yeah, like this guy delivers stuff regularly.
Has this guy delivered mail by himself? Like,
isn't that little basket?
He dropped a package.
But that's what he does. He drops the package into the water. The boat goes and picks it up. And
I just feel like dropping electronics in water just usually doesn't work for me.
You would think that it would be in a waterproof package. You would think.
Hopefully, but that's going to up the cost of the postage. Steve, you got to think of that. USPS weighs these bitches.
But I mean, why not?
For $15?
Why not?
I don't think so.
why not fly over? Like, get like 20 more foot of rope.
Yeah, drop it lower.
And fly over the big boat. So then you don't have to put your sailors at risk going out into these choppy ass seas.
Easy peasy.
And then you could just like boom do that, and then you have like a garden hose reel that you just kind of crank it back up, and then you let it back down by hand, or maybe even a remote controlled winch of sorts.
Nice
I
little
don't
basket.
know.
I like that. Well, Mitty moves his way from the boat, learning that Sean isn't there, and he heads to Iceland, and hops on a boat or hops on the bike. Has to keep it away from the Chileans, the horny Chileans looking to go to the strip club.
Got a bunch of horny Chileans going to the strip club.
And then this is where
that guy. You gotta go because I don't know what that is.
One at a time, right? They all
Right.
take their turn because the bike.
But he makes it to this town, this small little hotel, this building, sees this family, and I gotta say, this was quite the awkward interaction between these three Icelandic boys. The language barrier that they were struggling with. Honestly, I think these actors were a little, just because I don't know, it just felt so weird. It didn't feel. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it. But, like, really? You're going to give them a 40-year-old Stretch Armstrong toy for this kid's skateboard? I'd be pissed if I were that parent that watched that happen.
Oh,
no
dude.
way.
Right.
Ripping them off. And he knows
You know
it
when you
too.
come home from school and you tell your parents, like, you traded away a toy or something that was expensive, and they're like, you fucking did what?
Oh, I
you
traded it.
let someone take your Walkman home? You
I
gave
traded
away
a
all your
jacket.
Pokemon cards? A jacket?
Yeah,
For
I
what?
traded. I can't remember exactly, but it definitely wasn't another jacket.
Did
so,
not keep
like,
him warm that winter.
I came home. Mom was like, "Where's your jacket?" And I was like, "Oh, I traded it for." What did I fucking trade it for? Either way, I got yelled
Can of
at.
snuff.
Got my.
I got this cool trucker hat, Mom.
You trade a homeless guy?
Copenhagen long cut. Copenhagen long cut and a 12 or a Coors Light.
JJ, you take that back there and you tell your fourth grade teacher not to let that shit happen again.
Yeah, I traded it for with my fourth grade teacher. What are you talking about?
Oh. I do love that he goes and he grabs 2 rocks and then he rips his tie or whatever, and so he can skid the turns, and I loved that. That was kind of funny for me.
Well,
I guess
it was kind of a deal of like when he was talking about his skateboard competition days, and you see his like picture with the mohawk, and the whole awkward conversation with his mom of like, I just felt bad you working for a pizza place that was named after a dad when you were there. He's like, it's just Papa John's. Like,
Mom, I
it's
never
like,
thought of that.
I didn't
Yeah,
call
I
him
never
Papa.
thought of that because we didn't call him Papa. Like, that's not fucking weird at all. But like, you never think like, oh yeah, he's actually a badass skateboard fucking guy.
Which
and then you see him doing the tricks with old Mel
Rich.
Hopper's kid.
Rich.
Rich.
So
You don't
that was something
call
that
it
kind
being
of
rich.
I had to pump the brakes on that a little bit. Now, me growing up as a child, I rode my bike all the time. That's the ultimate way to get around is the bicycle. And I used to I had pegs on my bike, so I'd stand on the side of my bike on the pegs. I'd stand on the frame. All this crazy, stupid shit. Very fluent in the bike. Puberty hit. I got too tall. My knees started hitting the handlebar. So I quit riding a bike. I probably haven't ridden a bike very much over the last 10, 15 years. But brother had a bike, had pegs on it recently. I was like, oh, let me see if I can hop on there, do some of the same things I did. Almost bust my ass multiple times. This would have been emergency room, hospital, fucked up. I don't believe that this man who, we'll give him a nice mid-40s in this movie, there is no way he's coming back doing shit he used to do 30 years ago. No freaking way. Like, I get it. It's like riding a bike. No, it's not. You do not have the skills to be shooting down this hill on this board. No, sir.
And like I understand putting the rocks on your hand, but tying them with the tie is the tie not going to.
That's just going to rip
It's
off.
gonna go first.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you use it one and done, and then it's like really.
That's all he needed. Just the one lean on each side. That's all he got.
Yeah,
Although
that
I
shit ain't
will
gonna
say,
work, bro.
I would try that. Like, I mean, I think that does look like fun.
I just think you need bigger rocks, bigger than your hand, so you can still kind of grip them, and then they will.
See, I'd want like ski pole, so I wouldn't have to lean so far. I'm a little tall, so I don't think I can go that low. Me and touching my toes aren't
Low
always,
center of gravity. I can make it work.
See, JJ's got
But
that
then,
ability.
but then he lands in this little town, and the guy from the hotel pulls up.
Erection,
Like,
erection,
the erection. He's like, the what? And then we see the biplane.
Sean on the biplane, right?
Yeah, standing on the fucking top of the wings. It's like, really?
You think he's strapped in?
Yeah, you could see the straps from his waist.
Yeah.
Okay.
People used to do like
That's
stunt
insane.
Like
tricks and
barnstorming
like
shit like that back in the day. People would do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Can you imagine how fucking cold that would be, though?
Not when the volcano's going off.
Well, yeah.
What if you hit a bird or something?
Right.
You're gonna get knocked out.
Hopefully the propeller in the front is big enough. It's like swiping all the birds away from you.
There you go.
Yeah, all you're going to get
So
is
it's
a
coming
face
in like
full of
ground
feathers.
beef.
Just bird sashimi coming back at you.
Bird sashimi.
Call that ground goose.
Pate.
Just wait till you get a gander at that.
Hey-o.
Okay.
Oh, man. But yes, the volcano erupts. Sean gets away, and Walter's headed home. Y'all ready for 3? Ted assumes that Walter misplaced the negative and fires him. He tries to visit Cheryl, but spots her ex-husband and leaves before talking to her. Walter visits his mother and throws away the wallet from Sean. To his surprise, Walter recognizes the piano curve in his mother's house while looking at the last negative. When asked, she tells Walter that she met Sean and baked him the clementine cake. She had told Walter earlier, but he was daydreaming. Walter figures out that the note from Sean is the Afghan Himalayas and finds him photographing a rare snow leopard. When asked about the negative, Sean explains that he had placed the negative in the wallet, attempting to be playful. He decides not to tell Walter what the picture depicts.
I mean, yeah, okay. The timeline does not make sense at all. Yeah, I
Same thing
agree.
with the deadline of needing this photo. Like, Walter's going on all these huge, long adventures. He's hiking through these mountain ranges, and yet he's able to find Sean and get it all the way back to American time for this. Would they have a 2-week
Well,
deadline?
he said it's like 2 weeks. But they have 2
Right.
weeks to get it out. But then when he gets it back, when he finally does get it back,
They have 2 days left.
2 days left.
2 days.
Well, like, he went
he's-
to Greenland, came back, and went to Afghanistan and came back. Unless, like, I don't know.
But Sean must have. I mean, what did Sean do for those fucking 2 weeks? Because Sean, he was 2 weeks behind him, right? He was about 2 weeks behind him.
Right.
And so Sean has a missing 2-week gap somewhere. He must have been making his way to Afghanistan, but then he happens to find him right at some spot. I don't know. It just didn't quite.
Bit of a
Looking
hot
for
mess.
snow leopards.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just had kind of like a fucking brain fart here. They have to send his paychecks to 2 separate addresses. One is in New Jersey and one is in Greenland. That's how he gets the idea to go to Greenland. So did he hang out in Greenland until his paycheck came through? And then that's when he sent stuff off?
Maybe.
Like,
I don't know. This doesn't seem like a guy who gives a shit about his paycheck. I'd be willing to bet he's probably got like 12 sitting in his mailbox, you know?
well, and that's another question. How honest of a guy is Sean? Because he's getting 2 paychecks sent out at the same time. So is he double dipping?
On his
Is
last
he
one, I bet he does.
Is he stealing from the company? Is that why Life magazine is no longer going to print?
I mean,
because
this is 2013. You would think-
he's been frauding the company for how many
Double
years?
dipping.
How honest of a douchebag is this?
They're still
Yeah.
cutting.
Well,
bet
no,
he
because
doesn't. He's the old
even their
school.
severance guys, they're handing out checks.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So I mean, I've seen Rain Man in action rob a casino. Now he's robbing a magazine.
Rain Man.
I don't know about.
Was it Rain Man?
It wasn't Sean Penn Rain Man?
No, it was Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I thought it was the same person.
He was I Am Sam. He never go full
That's
retard.
that's what it was.
retard.
I was close though. All right, I was in the same spectrum.
Oh my.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can cut that.
But we get the clue. We ditch the wallet. We get the clue. We're heading to Afghanistan. And I will say this was some of the best of the, like, as far as redeeming qualities for a movie, or as far as like a genre movie that's usually not my cup of tea, the cinematography in this movie is second to none. I saw that all of the Greenland scenes were actually still Iceland footage, but like all of the Iceland, Steve, as someone who's been there, you've got to take in this beauty. Like, Iceland has just incredible landscape. So seeing the way they shot this movie, that scene of him going down the hill, and then heading to Afghanistan, all these like treks that he had, whether he was walking up the hills, riding something, it was incredible seeing these landscapes. So as much as I felt like we could have watched this at like a double speed movement, something from the 90s where it goes a little faster, I still enjoyed very much getting to see this part of the movie.
Yeah, no, beautiful landscapes, you're right, which is super interesting. But what really kind of tripped me out, I love the little Sherpas. They're one of the guys that his guides. They're like
silent argument.
Yeah.
Dude, that was great.
Yeah,
so much enjoyed that.
Funny. I did too. I was
Getting a mountain blessing.
I watched that a couple times. I was like,
it reminded me of Tropic Thunder whenever he's throwing out the like the military direction moves, and everybody's like, "Wait, what the fuck are you saying?"
Yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun. And then all of a sudden he's just walking, and Sean Penn's just, "Hey, buddy, I'm working."
Well, hold on. Before that, though, he's on this like mountaintop, and Todd calls him. Hey,
oh yeah,
where are you now? I'm like, wait, what fucking phone service is he using?
Yeah,
right.
Right, clearly not T-Mobile.
I'm surprised they didn't
sponsor.
plug in like a Verizon or T-Mobile. Just
Jesus.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Right.
Good.
I did enjoy Todd in the eHarmony. What is it? Patton Oswalt? I can't remember.
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, I thought that was a great choice as somebody on the other line, but this was definitely a fun add-in to kind of like that comedic, not quite a full-on comedic moment, but like gave you a little relief from these serious moments and made me feel like this movie didn't take itself too serious. Yeah, this was a happy-go movie, but they're not screaming like, "Hey, we're looking for Oscars here with what we're doing." This is just purely a happy movie.
Yeah, I mean, it had the points where it was like, what the fuck, where you were kind of jaw dropped and like, this is absolutely stupid. The Benjamin Button scene.
Oh god.
Oh my.
What the fuck?
Well, that could have been cut.
The first time I watched this movie twice. The first time I watched it, I was jaw dropped and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I completely forgot about that part. The second time I watched it, I was laughing hysterically because it was so stupid. So stupid. My heart is the size of a quarter, but it's as full as Fort Knox. It's so stupid, but you have to laugh. Anyway, I mean, there's the stupid parts like that, but I really did like Todd. Like, he was kind of a grounding sense in this entire thing. It's just like, hey, just calling back to let you know your dating profile sucks, but it's getting better.
Right.
And then to the
go ahead.
And then to the point where it's like, oh, I thought I was selling concert tickets, man. This thing is so great.
Yeah. When he sells, like, hey, buddy, get ready for a lot of winks.
Yeah. Like, I really want to read what he wrote about this random stranger that he's never met.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I think I got a lot of that from it toward the end when Walter was writing up his resume. He was writing some of the stuff that he put on there, or that I would guess like his profile sort of looked like, which was interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit. But but yeah, like he's on the phone with Todd, and all of a sudden this dude's like, "Hey, bud, do you mind? I'm working here." It's just like, could you imagine somebody fucking like walking in front of you and you're like isolated in the middle of fucking nowhere?
It scared the crap out of you. Like, I remember being out, like, going deer hunting. You're out in a stand. It's nice and quiet. You know that there's no one for a quarter mile, half mile around you. Maybe, others hunting. And there's been moments where I'm sitting there and all of a sudden I hear, old Steve back there behind me snuck up on me like a damn squirrel. Hey, Brian. What the fuck fuck are you doing? Like, it
Where did
scares
you
the
come from?
shit out of me. Like, how did I not hear this giant guy tromping through the fort? No, somehow he avoids every freaking leaf. But yeah, like, just that moment of, like, security and calmness just cut just like that when somebody shows up. Yeah, totally know the feeling.
Could you imagine if he walked past him because he was on the phone with Todd? And
Or
like that
just-
was his moment missed after all that.
We watched the
Gosh.
snow leopard run away.
He probably
And at
would
this
have
point,
if
he's
he
alone.
hadn't said anything.
Well, I mean,
Right? Like his rented
I would have.
guides are like, "You're on your own, sir. We're staying right here. This is a you journey now." So, what could have happened then?
I honestly think it would have been a lot of a better meeting if he like just walked in front of him on the phone and then Sean recognized him, because Sean obviously knows what Walter looks like. He took his picture, which we find out later. But I mean, like, he would have been
He's
like,
all
"Hey,
masked
Walter."
up.
He would be like, "Hey, Walter," and then like he's just like stops, like, "Wait, what?" Hangs the phone up, turns around, like, "Holy shit!" But
That'd be a crazy moment.
I don't know. That whole scene is like, of all the places that you have to walk on that mountain range, you finally chose to walk right there.
Right,
Just
really,
the,
right by the
coinc-
guy.
the coincidences are amazing.
And he's trying to shoot a snow leopard who's like,
It's a ghost
it is the ghost cat. It is the most unphotographed animal, like,
Ghost cat
on the face of the earth. That's actually a fact from the people that did
The woolly mammoth has not been the woolly mammoth has not been photographed.
Oh my god.
No, they actually just thawed one out in some Russian iceberg.
Yeah.
Just fucking
No,
It's all
but
over Twitter.
But it was Planet Earth. They were talking about, like, they got like actual footage of the snow leopard. They were like, "This is the first video footage we have," and it showed, like, in the deleted scenes, the camera people shooting the footage of the snow leopard. You didn't know that there were camera people there. Like, you were looking, they were so well camouflaged and everything. It was like, holy shit, like, that's badass. And then here's Sean with a big ass camera rig in a red blanket over him, like, getting ready to take pictures of a leopard. And then here's Walter in a bright red snowsuit with gray and all this shit. And it's like, okay.
I mean, at the
And
same
just
time,
move-
too.
and just moving around.
Like, it looks
Yeah,
like he's
having
taking a
a great-
picture.
having
like
a great
across the ridge.
conversation.
Well, you've got all these guys kicking a ball down there below. So, like, there's no way these
Yeah.
guys are spooking, taking the picture. They're spooking this leopard. If you got, Sherpa 1, Sherpa 2, Sherpa 3 kicking the damn ball down there.
How many Sherpas does Sean need, too, by the way? Like,
Well, those are just the local boys.
oh,
Local Sherpas. Yeah.
The local guys, because his other Sherpa guys, they didn't go that far, right? They stopped.
Yeah.
So those other dudes, they were just living in that mountain valley.
Those were young Sherpas, Sherpies.
I don't understand. Like, why didn't the guys continue on? They could have come and visited their grandkids.
Well, Walter probably ran out of money. Probably only paid for them to go so far. Like, no, man, sorry, we said 27 miles. We're at 27. You got the last 4
but he
yourself.
got to keep one of their flutes.
What do you think that was? Hey, man, if you fall, call us.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
Give us a
here's
G-sharp.
Here's your mountain rape whistle.
Only use it if it's actually happening.
Yeah, snow leopards are tricky bitches. Well, and that leather wallet, which, yeah, that's cool as shit, but it's not gonna waterproof the whole thing.
I think it might be.
Have you I mean, I don't know.
Cows fucking don't get rained on the inside.
Skin.
I had to step away for half a second,
like,
but I'm not even entertained what the fuck we're jumping into.
Here's Brian's groomsman gift to me. It's a leather fly box.
Nice.
And this thing is not going to keep
I bet
things
you can pour
dry.
water. I bet you can pour water on it, and it will just wash.
Well, it's going to tread it off, but it's also it like a wallet has an opening.
I mean, but that's like a sponge on the inside.
Right.
You know, if
It's actually
all leather.
it's actually
It's going to be
wool.
like. Okay, well, it'll be well, maybe it's not absorbent unless it's submerged and squished. Then it would absorb. Like
He was in there for less than
So-
60 seconds. So
right,
that's
and
what
if
she
it's
said.
all
If that's
leather,
enough
just
time.
True.
So he's.
it's like the 5-second rule when you drop something and really didn't get that dirty.
That's the Mormon rule.
Whoa.
No,
Less
that's
than
called
60
soaking.
Less than 60 seconds, it doesn't count. Right?
It's called soaking. You don't let it move.
That's what you got friends for.
Oh, but so
She's out.
I didn't mean to do that.
I was like,
But that was great timing.
She's gone.
Swerve. But thank goodness his mom saves all his little knickknacks, and you knew she grabbed it. Like the second he threw it in the trash,
And
in that
she
scene.
saw, she looked over at it
Right.
too.
I don't remember if we see her grab it, but you see that she
No.
notices.
No,
and
you
you're like,
don't.
okay, well, you're obviously gonna snag that.
So what?
That was.
So what did y'all think about like him not telling him what was on the photo?
I liked it. I thought it was fun,
Yeah.
kind of leaving that open, because I didn't expect to find it out there. Like that's the big reveal of the movie. So I appreciated that they kind of left us, held us in. 'Cause otherwise, you're kind of losing me at this point in the movie.
I
What
agree.
else?
It is frustrating. Like, he's like, so what's the photo of, Sean? And he's like, hey, we're going to be one person short if you don't come along. Like, that to me is another growing point for Walter Mitty, because it's learning from Sean of don't dwell on the past, let's live in the now.
Is it also a lesson?
Yeah.
Of, like, well, you threw it away.
It's
So,
a missed
we'll never
opportunity.
know.
It's a missed opportunity. It's something that you can't let worry you.
It's gone. It's gone. There's no point in
Right.
No
point in-
regrets.
no regrets.
I mean,
'Cause you know
you.
he's deep.
Well,
Like
yeah,
the
you
scene
hear
with
him
the
say
snow
it.
leopard when
Yeah.
when he doesn't photograph it and he just says he sits in the moment and doesn't let himself be pulled from that. So
I mean,
that
that's legitly to relate in today's time. What was it, the Masters last year, where Tiger was making a chip and everybody in the photo, like in the background, is like has their camera phone out, and there's just one guy standing in the middle holding a Michelob. No, he's just holding a Michelob Ultra, just watching, and everybody else around him has their iPhones out, like just fucking pay attention. This guy's just chilling. It's like, live in the moment, man. Enjoy it. Take it in with your own eyes, not through a camera lens.
I like Sean's quote that he said. I can't remember, something like beautiful things don't
Need
ask
to
for
be-
attention or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Hence why I don't like photos. People try to take photos.
Oh
and I don't know.
my
Get that camera off. Get that camera off.
Yeah, get that shit out of here.
All right. You all ready to go to 4?
Yes.
When Walter returns to America, the airport security in Los Angeles detains him from arriving from Afghanistan. To verify his identity, Walter calls the only person that he knows in Los Angeles, Todd, whom he has kept in contact with during Mitty's travels. The two chat, and Todd expresses the admiration for how adventurous Walter appears. Walter receives the wallet from his mother, who had retrieved it from the trash, and finally obtains the negative, but chooses not to see it. Emboldened, he delivers it to Life's office and berates Hendricks for disrespecting the staff that made the magazine so honored. Walter reunites with Cheryl, and thanks her for inspiring him on his journey. Cheryl eagerly asks about his adventures and tells him that her ex-husband had only been in the house to help with repairs. Walking along the street, they see the final print issue on sale at a newsstand, and on its cover, they see the photograph from number 25 for the first time. It shows Walter sitting outside of Life's building, examining a contact sheet. The magazine is dedicated to Life staff, and Sean's note referred to Quintessence of Life. Walter and Cheryl continued their walk, holding hands.
How easy is it to get into fucking America now? Right? This is how terrorists get into the country. Because if you just come, where was his passport? He didn't have. How did he get somewhere to Yemen and then Afghanistan? Everything else without. I guess ungoverned Afghanistan, fine. But you leave places, get to other places without a passport or visas. Then you come back to the country without a passport, and so you just.
Well,
need
no,
somebody-
he had a passport.
He said
The
"Prove to us
TSA
that you're
agent
Walter
was
Mitty."
holding his passport whenever he was talking to him.
Right. So that should be fucking proof that you're Walter Mitty. Why do you have to know somebody to come and verify your identity?
I think
Beard
the
he was
only
growing.
reason I think the only reason was because Afghanistan was a no-fly zone, no travel at that point. And so it's like he had the stamp from Afghanistan, was the last stamp, so they're like, well, how the fuck did you get that? You're not supposed to go there. He's like, well, I went to Yemen, and it was $84, and then
Slipped through.
yeah, just fucking ended up there. I mean, I think that at that point, yeah, I can understand it. Like, you are a dude that has not had any previous travel.
And then
Like-
you add that like rugged swagger that he came back with. You know, the shadow and his new attitude. I don't know.
The
that was
bracelets and
kind
the
of like-
necklace, yeah.
maybe he ditched his passport or he ditched his identity and he's like, I'm the new me. But this kind of was like when Todd comes into it, he almost was like not like his conscience, but just this voice, right? That kind of guided you. Okay, you don't do anything, or you haven't really filled these things out, and so you may be encouraging that and guiding it.
So I kind of looked at it as more of a devil angel on the shoulder situation. To an extent, not necessarily
like,
where
right. He's like that voice.
he was basically
challenging.
it was Todd being like, oh, like really you haven't done anything, or like you're making this shit up, like really, to where then Walter has to go out and like prove that he's doing it, kind of deal.
True.
That's
Yeah, but
that's
then
just
we
the
get
way
to
I
meet-
thought of it. But then yeah, you meet Patton Oswalt. But you
Which
just gotta
we
love him.
obviously know what he's gonna look like, you know,
Yeah.
because you can recognize that voice. But it was kind of cool how they reconnected that moment for us.
I love how he's standing there in sandals, jeans, and a Hawaiian shirt.
He's like, hey.
Like, first off, who wears sandals with jeans anymore? We need to bring that style back ASAP.
I love what he said though. It was like, you're so different than what I pictured you. I figured you like a gray piece of paper.
Yeah, a gray piece of paper, and here you are.
That's such a deep insult.
I know, right?
But we get this fun scene. We finally get to put Ted in his place. Go put Adam Scott, shut his beard having ass down with this photo that he just drops there in front of him. And do we believe that, I guess Walter still hasn't looked at it. He says he didn't look at it, but like, I don't think that
Why
I have
would
the
you
ability
not?
not to. I'd have to look at this point.
Right. Well,
Right? Even just to see if it's still okay.
yeah.
Like the quality.
Yeah.
Right? What if you're turning it over and then like Ted's like, hey asshole, I've got the negative here, nothing's on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, this
just
is
blank.
the guy, like, hey, call for references. Like, you have to put him, and like he'd be like, yeah, he was a negative assets manager, and he was really fucking shitty at it because he didn't do his job.
Or even the fact that like Ted didn't even question the fact that like we're looking for this great final photo. This is the last one of the physical Time magazine. And he's going to believe that Walter's supposed to be the cover? Like, I don't know. If I were Ted, I wouldn't believe him that was the negative. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not putting your cake man, having ass, Stretch Armstrong, toy walking. You know you're not going on my cover. Absolutely
I mean,
not.
well, he doesn't even know what a quintessence is. Like,
I don't know what a quintessence is.
I don't either, but I mean,
When he says quintessence of life, is the L capitalized? Because in the entire movie, up until right just in this moment, I took it as like life in general, like the journey of life or whatever.
oh,
I didn't think that he meant directly the magazine in
I didn't
that,
think
but
so either.
now that we know what it is,
He was talking
He,
about the
like,
quintessence
he's
of
the under guy, like,
Life
he's-
magazine.
right? Like it's people like him that made it happen, that actually do the work, and like he said, you always got my photo where it needed to be. So it's like the people that step in and get the work done that don't always get that appreciation, but they are the heart of it.
But this is where we get also our video from Rich. Rich received the skateboard, so appreciative of it. As Steve pointed out, we send the video of a different skateboard, but Rich is still having fun. And of course,
still enjoying
Cheryl,
it.
with her weird name, gives her a nice little, hello, hi.
So could you imagine them like let's say the next, he goes to GQ magazine to be their negative asset manager, and they're like, get his resume. They're like, okay, so yeah, great, you worked at Life, but what's this other shit? It's like,
He's
like, we take all of our photos in the studio, so you don't have to go to a high elevation. You're good with that here.
Yeah, we don't telework here. I'm just saying. Do you think like Sean like fucks with Walter now, like as a, hey, well, your mom said I was good.
Right. Remember that time I took that photo of at your mom's house?
Oh,
I'll let your mom play with my camera.
How do you think she took a photo of the piano and I came out with a clementine cake?
Let her put on my 9mm zoom.
Okay.
We do get to wrap up this movie with a nice Wally and Cheryl. They come together. We find out Cheryl was just hitting the refrigerator repairman, just getting that fixed. And
is that what they're calling it these days? Getting the fridge fixed?
Yeah. Well, she didn't have a pool because it was New York City, so can't bring the pool guy over. But yeah, it seems like all is well for our lovely Walter Mitty. He's got himself a lady, a stepson that thinks he's kind of cool, and then of course prospects for a new job, maybe. Maybe.
Possibly, probably not.
But how were you guys? I guess Alyssa, this being your first time seeing the movie, what was your first reaction when you saw the Life cover there at the very end?
I guess I was expecting something from nature or just not that, and I liked that. I couldn't imagine a perfect ending or a better ending to that. Also, never would have thought that would have been it. So I was caught off guard, but then you're like, oh, I recognize he's actually looking at the slides. So he took those photos and then sent them off pretty quick. So like you said, it kind of goes back to the timeline just being a little weird, but I appreciate little connections. So
but
that tied a lot of things up.
I think he just actually, because he was talking to Walter's mom, I think that's Walter's spot. Like everybody has their place that they go to that's like, this is like, this little fountain.
Like that's where he eats his lunch sandwich every day.
Yeah. Like this little area is where I go to just kind of, get away from it, like escape the workday. Mm-hmm. And he probably, his mom, he doesn't have anybody else in his life, so he's probably taken his mom and his sister there a time or two. And that's just his comfort zone. So his mom probably told him like, yeah, usually during lunch he's at this place. So it could have been a different set of photos, I think.
But it definitely was. I'm not going to say that the entire time I was like, oh, it's definitely going to be Walter that was the picture. But I definitely felt like there was a sense of they were building up to that. You got that feeling like, all right, we're not seeing this photo. It's not going to be some grand gesture. So, like, right as we're seeing Walter on that cover, I was like, well, it has to be Walter. It absolutely, like, that's just... I don't feel like this movie could have ended any other way. We purely needed that way for it to turn and for it to end.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it had to be him in some way. That's why, like, and I think that they were obviously sprinkling in clues all along there, just like what you're saying, about, like, what his work schedule was and everything else. So... yeah.
No, there's several like black spots throughout the whole thing that he's looking at in the cover photo.
She went back to.
Oh, you have the cover of it.
Yeah,
nice.
I googled and pulled it up. Because I was like, that's gonna fucking throw things way off.
Alrighty, y'all ready to roll to the slices?
Yes.
Word.
Alrighty, everybody, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, this is the end, so we're so glad you made it here. But before you go, we've got to break down this movie and put it on our Too Much Slice meter. Our Too Much Slice meter is how we judge these movies. We put it all in this big old, very complicated, lots of science, lots of math, too much for us to explain to you, but we easily break it down to a 0 to 8 slice movie. A 0 slice movie, well, it's going to be jumping out of a drunk man's helicopter into shark-infested waters. Not porpoise, shark. And an 8 slice movie is going to be a great movie. It's going to be making the cover of Life magazine for the final issue. And JJ, this being your movie of the week, you got a preference where you're going tonight?
I'm going to go first because I know y'all are probably going to destroy this movie.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Well, I know Brian and Steve are going to destroy this movie. Alyssa, I think, would probably be a little more gracious with it. But I want to go first. I want to give it my honest opinion because it's movies like this that I do really enjoy, and I think a lot of people really enjoy. It is the story of some schmuck that has nothing in his life and then finds the courage to get out there and do what he wants, you know. It is the hero story. It's the Lion King. We see Simba grow from a little cub to a grown man, a grown lion. You know, and I gotta say, I love it. I love everything about this movie except for some of the flashbacks, imagination scenes. The Benjamin Button one, it's like, yeah, what the fuck? I mean, that's what the human mind does. It travels places that nobody else would think about. Like, everybody has those thoughts. The fact that this movie actually shows it, and you think that it's absolutely stupid, but no, it happens. And that humanizes all of us and makes us think that maybe we could one day travel the world. You know, we dream of a vacation, but Walter Mitty actually just says, fuck it, and he goes for it. Maybe we all need to figure out a way to say fuck it and go for it. So, I mean, I don't hate this movie at all. I really enjoyed watching it, but I still got to give it an above average. I got to go 5 solid slices for it.
Bam! We got 5 slices from JJ tonight. Steve, take us home.
10 years ago, saw it, and it'll probably be another 10 years before I gotta watch it again. Not that it wasn't had some interesting moments, some cute moments, but I think a lot of the zoning out, those, just like what JJ said, right? Those kind of things kind of like really got me. It turned me away from the movie a little bit too much. I just didn't quite, even like the first time that I saw it, I remember thinking, I was like, I just didn't quite get it. Even the second time, there were times of just like, why are you doing this? What are you doing? You know, and wait, is this real? Just like what you're saying, Brian, is this real? Is this fake? Is this not, you know, how this is? And so anyway, because of that, I did enjoy the cast. But some of those other things kind of held me back a little bit. So this movie's getting a 3 slicer for me.
Boom, boom, boom. Alyssa, you going last?
Oh, all right.
Gotcha. Well, I really don't feel like there's a whole lot more for me to add to this. I talked about it at the beginning. I talked about it here at the end with y'all. Yeah, the flashbacks really kind of took me out of it. After finishing this movie, it was an integral part of the movie. Obviously, there were key details that Walter missed from his life because he was in a zone out. You know, whether it be Cheryl talking about something that he completely missed or his mom telling him about Sean coming to visit. You know, these were all things that were missed because of the zone out. With that being said, though, there were a lot of redeeming qualities from this. You know, the actors were great. I loved the cinematography of this. The landscapes we got to see, everything that came out of this was great. And I really feel like it saved this movie. I talked about, too, this isn't my style of movie. I've got a handful of easygoing, you know, those kind of like lifting movies. Pursuit of Happiness is one of those for me. It's a tearjerker, but that's one of those like happy movies for me. I like to watch when I just need a feel-good moment, and that's definitely what this is. Wrapping it up here, I loved a lot of things. I want to give it a higher score, but with me personally, I'm going to give it a 4 slice movie. I think this is average. It's got great pieces, but it is missing some things that I like in a movie night movie anyway. Alyssa,
Nice.
bring it home.
No, that's valid.
Well, being the last, I feel like you kind of have to scavenge through what hasn't been said. But this was hard to tell at times, and it just went weird. It got a little like Master of Disguise-y weird in some of those zone out moments. So I can roll with it, but this movie wasn't painful. It was, JJ, honestly, your first encounter of it being kind of like a late night out the night before, recovery day the next morning. You just need something light and easy. It's not gonna make you think deep at all. that is what I imagine this to be. So I don't remember who said it's kind of a one and done. I think JJ, you mentioned that this was my one. And unless something comes up that nudges me to read it or watch this again, I think it might stay done for me. So it's not as painful as some of the movies we have to watch. So I'm gonna lock it in with Steve with a solid 3.
Nice. We've got 3 slices from Alyssa as well. So if you take my 4 slices, JJ's 5, and Steve and Alyssa's 3 slices, we put that into this huge calculator. Like I said, all this science and math gets going, and it comes out to a 3.75 movie.
Where does that fall? I think it's pretty well fitting.
Yeah,
where does that fall?
Not bad
Oh,
at all.
of course, Alyssa. We got to tell the fans that. With this being our 66th movie that Too Much Movie Night crew has done, this is falling in the 54th position. This movie is better than The Predator, Three Amigos, and The Great Outdoors, but not quite as good as last week's episode of Me, Myself, and Irene and Ocean's 8. Just below our average threshold of the 4.13 movie.
JJ, look, you got 3 in a row.
I know. I am. I'm on 3 in a row right now. We're going to see if we can make it 4 for next week.
Yeah, let's cool it, okay.
Anyway.
Well, everybody, we can't thank y'all enough for coming by, stopping, and hanging out with us. We knocked out, again, episode 66, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. If you're looking for more Too Much Movie Night fun, follow us on Instagram. Come hang out with us there. Let us know on our Patreon page if we've got a movie that you want to check out. Just throw us a nice little something, and we'll take care of whatever movie you guys are looking for. Apple, Spotify, all that fun stuff. You got anything else?
Get on it.